Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David. Man, it sure seems like there are a lot of marked decks out on the market. How do you know which one is going to work for you? That seems like a great Magic question. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know I love me the marked decks. I love marked decks. And I talk about them a lot. And I had a viewer question last week, or a couple weeks ago, I guess now. And they said, you should make a top 10 list of marked decks. And at the time I was like, well, I've already made that video. And so I went back and checked. I made that video in 2016. So it's been a while. It's been a while since I've revisited the top 10 lists. I've done a couple here and there, right, of doing best 2 or best 3. I've done those as well. I did a quickie. I did like a short. I did that a while back. And then I even did one over in the membership section only a year ago. So actually, in the membership section, I went over 9 marked decks, and I show you the mark for all 9 decks. And so if you need another incentive to join the membership section, that video is over there. And you can join the member section for only $2 a month. So I decided I would go through some marked decks. Okay, we'll go through some marked decks today. We'll talk about them. I'm not going to go too much into them because, you know, when you make these top 10 lists, the video gets kind of long. I want to keep the video short. So if any of these sounded interesting to you, you can always go watch my full review for each one of these. So I've done a full review for all of these. And so that's really where you're going to get more information. The other thing is I'm doing more than 10. I'm doing more than 10. Now, why am I doing more than 10? Well, really for one major reason. And it's not so that I could, you know, puff up my numbers, because sometimes I hate it when there's videos that are like the top 41 magic wallets. And you're like, 41 magic wallet? That's too many. I don't need that much information. Isn't that all the magic wallets? Like, I'm not trying to cover all the marked decks, all right? I'm not trying to do that. I'm really trying to show you what I think are the best. But in that list, I realized that a lot of these are sold out now. They are. When there's a good marked deck out there, a lot of times it sells out. So it doesn't really do you any good if I put it in a top 10 list and then you're thinking to yourself, well, that's great. But then you go to a major retailer and it's not there. So I'm sticking some extra ones in there just so that there are enough marked decks in this video that are still for sale. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't find some of these in a smaller retailer. You probably can. There's probably a smaller retailer that still has some stock, and there's always eBay. But for some of the major retailers, when I say it's out of stock, it's out of stock. So if you find any of these that I say are out of stock, if you find them somewhere, please tell us all below, because some of these are some pretty great decks. All right, so we're going to go through the coded decks of cards. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I'm saying that because I think sometimes we get confused when we say the word marked. Marked deck has now become the just go-to word for all kinds of decks that have the value and suit on the back. But if you're going to be technical, a marked deck is a coded deck. So on the back of a marked deck, there's a code that you have to decipher that tells you what the face value is. A reader-backed deck, right? A reader-backed deck would have the actual symbols. So it would have an A on the back for ace, or an S for spade, or the actual symbol of a spade. Whereas a marked deck, a truly marked deck, would be a code that you would have to decipher. And between the two, a lot of magicians would tell you that they prefer marked decks because those decks can be handed out and examined, and the spectator would never know the value, or they would never know the marking system. So I've got 5. I've got 5 decks here to go through that I think are the best coded or best truly marked decks. Number 5 is the Resurrected version 2 deck from Abraxas. This was a really cool looking deck. It was the second version of a red deck that had come out earlier. It was also made alongside of Peter Turner, and it had like a really cool Ouija board back design. $20, but sadly those are also out of stock. Number 4 is the Mint deck. The mint deck is $15, and there's a couple different colors out there. And its back design, I think, looks very similar to just a regular casino back, right? It's just a regular old deck of cards. And it has a great marking system, and the back design, like I said, would probably fly by most people. They would never suspect that it was coded in some way. Number 3 is the Black Roses decks from Daniel Schneider. Those decks are typically $10. Now, not every Black Roses deck is marked, okay? And so I would look through the ad copy and make sure. Most of the recent ones have been marked, but just make sure, read the ad copy first. But they're a wonderful marked deck. Number 2, in my book, would be the Butterflies from Andre Senica. The Butterflies are an amazing deck because there's so many things built into this. Most of his decks have 2 markings, and even his unmarked decks, you can use just little things in the back designs to your advantage. They're also one-way back. There's so many really cool details with the butterfly deck that you can do. And Andre's put out a ton of tricks and material for his decks, and he's paid very careful attention to stock and cut, and he's just a wonderful retailer to deal with as well. So he's been a lot of fun. Number 1 for coded, I would say, are the Nox. The Nox, I think, defy every sense of logic that this deck is marked in some way. And most of the recent Nox decks, not all of them, some of them, if you get the older Nox, they were only marked for suit, but now they're actually they're fully marked. And so I think that is amazing because they don't look like they should be marked at all. All right, so I got 11 decks to tell you, really 12 because I have an honorable mention in the number 12 spot. So my honorable mention is the Boris Wild marked deck, and it is $16. Now, the reason why it's an honorable mention and the reason why I have it down all the way at the bottom is because it is really not my favorite. It's not my favorite at all, and I think there's a lot of others that are better, but it's also still for sale. So I want to make sure that you know about it. The reason why I didn't like it is because the markings go all the way down the left side. The markings don't stay in one place. So you don't have a mark necessarily for suit. So where the location of the mark is on the back tells you the suit. And it was just a little too complicated for me, but a lot of people do like it, and I want to put it out there and make you aware of it so that you know it exists. Coming in at number 11 are the Phoenix marked decks. These are from Card Shark. They are $20. So they're on the high end. Out of all the marked decks that are available, these are definitely on the high end. The way these are marked is there's a repeating pattern on the back that is letters. They look like S's and H's, I believe. And sometimes those S shapes and those H shapes change to be the value of the card. Now, again, it's not in my top 10, and I think really the only reason is because they don't look like bicycle cards, and the tuck case doesn't say bicycle, it says Phoenix. And so I think typically if your deck is already dirty, right, and there's already some funny business going on, I don't want to add anything else to my spectators' suspicions. So I would rather use a deck that looks closer to a real bicycle deck that they would be familiar with. But I want to make you aware of it because the Phoenix mark deck is available. It is a good mark deck, and it is $20. Coming in at number 10 is the Pure Mark Mandolin backs by TCC. Again, this is a reader back. It's a great deck. It's also a one-way facer. So the deck has one-way faces, so that's pretty cool. It was only $10, so that was a really good price. The reason why I didn't totally love it is because the suit and pip weren't together on the back. They were separated so that they weren't together, right? So if you saw them together, it might stand out too much. So they spaced them out a little bit. So it just means your eye has to look in more than one place. But those are out of stock. Number 9 is the Crossed Keys deck from Illusionist and Peter Turner. You can pick this up at illusionist.com for $10. It's got a really beautiful back design, very cool. I like it. And it's been a lot of fun. If you're a Peter Turner fan, I'm sure you like it too. Coming in at number 8 are the Cohorts from Illusionist. They are $8 and they're in stock. You can find them at Illusionist. They have a very unique back design. Again, they are not bicycle, but they are corner marked readers. So they are very easy to read. The font is a little wavy, so it's disguised within the back design. I think they did a great job disguising the mark. But like I said, you can only find these at Illusionist. Another Illusionist deck is number 7. This is our Keepers deck. This was put out from Adam Wilbur and Illusionist. And again, an original back design, but it looked kind of like a bicycle deck. They had the triptych circle down in the middle, all beautifully drawn by Oban Jones. And a lot of people loved the Keepers decks, but they are out of stock. Number 6 is the GT Speedreaders. These are the 809s, the mandolin backs. These were also $20, so higher end. But the really cool thing about the GT Speedreaders is the mark is in the lower left corner instead of being in the upper. So that when you fan the cards, the mark is closest to the magician. And for the longest time, the GT Speedreaders were my very favorite mark deck because it was nice, clear mark, very easy to find, and very highly deceptive. They were the favorite of a lot of magicians. They are out of stock. Number 5 is the Marksman deck from Luke Germain. This is also a mandolin back. This is $35. But there's a lot of reasons that it's $35. The first of which is it came with a ton of material. So when you bought it, you got a lot of routines and tricks from Luke Germain, and the deck does more than one thing. It's not just marked on the back, it also has a one-way mark on the back as well. It's also marked for mnemonica, so that if you were looking at the back, you would know its mnemonica position, you would know what it was, and it was also marked for mates and pairs. So if you were looking at a 2 of spades, the mark on the back would tell you where the 2 of clubs was, and how far away it was in the deck. So it was totally built, it was a bionic deck. It was built for Magic. The Marksman deck is out of stock. Number 4 is the Honor Marked deck from Magicat. And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you've been hearing me push this deck like a crazy person because it's an awesome marked deck. And it comes with a lot of tutorials as well. And it's affordable, $12. $12. It's got a great marking system, has a great one-way back design as well, and a video tutorial. If I saw you at MagiFest, I gave 3 or 4 of these decks away at MagiFest. I put them in every single one of the giveaway boxes through December. Can't say enough great things about this deck. Number 3 is the Code from Andy Nyman and Theory 11. This is a fantastic mark deck, and I will actually fluctuate between this one and my number 1 as my 2 favorite. And on top of that, again, you're going to get teaching. You're going to get teaching, and I believe Chris Kenner's on there, Steve Cohen's on there, Jonathan Boehm. 1 hour of teaching. This is in stock at theory11.com. Number 2 is the DMC Elites. The DMC Elites, they are constantly being referred to, mentioned, recommended by y'all down below. Anytime I talk about marked decks, inevitably a myriad of voices, a choir of voices will begin to shout the praises of the DMC Elites. It is a wonderful marked deck, and it's a perfect crossover between a reader back and a marked deck. I could have easily put this in either category because I believe the markings are so diabolical it almost counts as a coded deck. But there's so many great things you could do with this, and the fact that you can read these decks from across the room. So many people love the DMC Elites. There's also little passport books that you can buy as well that'll teach you some great tricks. Beautifully illustrated. I think they're available in red, in rouge, in black, and green. $20 currently in stock. And then last, my number 1, and it's always my number 1 anytime I do one of these lists, the Penguin marked deck. You can literally just go to penguinmagic.com, type in marked deck, and whatever pops up at the top, that's the one I'm talking about. $10. $10. So cheap enough that you could buy a brick. Shipped to you in mnemonica. So mnemonica is already in it. You get 2 instructional videos. 2 hours and hours and hours of teaching, made in back, highly deceptive, tons of visible marks. You could pretty much look anywhere in the back and you will find the face and value. Can't say enough great things about this deck, and so does everybody else. It's it's the winner in my book. And coupled that with the extra cards that you get, I believe you get some extra aces, right? Such a wonderful deck. All right, that's the end of my video. Hope that helped. I hope that helped. 17 decks of cards, I believe, was my count. I know a lot of them were out of stock, but I hope I gently nudged you in the direction of a deck that you would appreciate. Do me a favor now. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit follow. Do me a favor and hit the clickety-click buttons. That helps me out a lot. And it lets me know that you appreciate what I do. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity to share these great decks with you. And if there's a question that you have, if there's something that you have a question about, please ask below and I will do my best to answer it. And who knows, maybe I'll even make a video about it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, how would you like access to even more magic reviews? You can. You can get access to 2 extra bonus videos every single week. Did you know that? Hey, I make videos Monday through Friday for free, and I do that for you guys. I never ask for a dime. You guys don't need to pay me any money. Magic and YouTube is not how I make a living. But if you would like access to 2 extra videos, you can join this channel for the low, low price of $1.99 a month. That's right, you'll get 8 extra videos every single month. Now, what are these videos? Well, these videos are tricks that I purchase with my own money because I'm interested in them. These are the tricks that I see, that I want, that I think are going to be cool, and so I take time out and review those for you in the membership section. 8 videos, 2 a week for only $1.99. All right, so how do you join? Well, down below, right next to where it says Magic Orthodoxy, there should be a button that says Join. If you don't see that button, there's also a hyperlink in the description of this video. Once you click that, it'll take you to another YouTube page where you'll be able to put in all your information and join with your $1.99. Of course, you can join for month to month, or you can join for the entire year. It's up to you. And of course, you're free to cancel at any time. And again, you don't have to do this. This is not me asking for money. This is just another thing that I make available to you should you wish. Of course, you just coming here and supporting me on social media, any one of my other social media channels, by subscribing, by following, that is support enough. That is all the support I need from you guys. And believe me, when I see you guys reach out, when I see you guys comment, it means the world to me. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and thank you for believing in me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.